Welcome to In or Out, the European Ultimate Federation show about the European Ultimate Club season. I'm your host, Ravi, here, ready to kick things off for 2025. This is our 2025 preview show, where we're going to look at all the tournaments, all the tours, all the elite invites, and just take a look at what this season's going to bring. A couple of housekeeping notes to start things off. Number one, we'll notice when we go through the tournaments, there are a few spots still left open. Please get those in ASAP. We're shutting things down pretty quickly. So if any way that you want to fill in those spots so we can make these tournaments even a little better, please feel free to get in touch and get in with that. Aside from that, I think things are going really well. Oh yeah, one last housekeeping note. I believe that today is the deadline for the master rosters getting in. So we're going to look at the master rosters later on in the show. And if you don't see yours up there, then perhaps it's time to contact your national federation, tell them that they need to get that submitted. So definitely get on top of that. And before we start, just wanted to get a few reminders of what is new and different about the system this season. Basically only a couple things that really need to worry about in terms of ranking. Number one is that teams have to submit what tournaments they're going to go to when they apply to EUF approved tournaments. So actually, we already have a team list of who's going to be going to Tom's and who's going to count those games. We'll get that published. It's already published on the EUCS Ultimate Federation website. I'll try to get that integrated into the ranking app soon. But yeah, that's one change. And then the last change that I think is the most important one is that the summer tour events count a little more and the single events count a little less. But you can see all those details of that in the other shows we've done. All right, I think it's time to kick it off. I'm going to welcome in StephO, ultimate commentator, UltiTV extraordinaire, done all kinds of things, building up his super team this year, but we're not going to talk too much about that. We're going to talk about the European club seasons. Let's bring him in. StephO, welcome to In or Out. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing really good. Thanks for having me, Ravi. Pleasure to be on the show. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I think you were on one of the last shows we did last season, but how you feeling? How you feeling about this European club season starting off? It's time to get things going. We're into April.
Yeah, it's this is it. I mean, the off season's long. You kind of been working away, figuring out what's coming, and I know inside the lair of the EUF, you guys have been tooling away at the rankings, at all this new info. I'm pretty excited to hear. I was picking your brain rather to know about these rosters in advance, and you're like, no, I want to see how you react to some of these rosters too. So I've got some inside scoops. I've been loving watching everything unfold, and this feels like one more big sheet to unfold coming up for myself and everybody watching right now.
And what's your thoughts? You're a big follower of this sport, of this European division. How did you like last year? What are you excited about seeing again this year? What do you think teams might have learned from doing things last year? Just what are your thoughts on this European club system in general?
I mean, I'll start with what teams may have learned. I think like there was a little bit of trying to play the system, and I don't know if anybody got it right. I think a couple teams like got the benefit of some mystery on their side. There's a few others, but I think what really shakes out is that like trying to play the system is really a dice roll to get in. I think teams are going to be a little bit more measured this year based on what weighs a little heavier. And if EUCF is their ultimate goal for their team, if they are an elite team, that I think that's going to be their direction throughout the tour. As far as, from a spectator point of view, I get to be part of broadcasts and a little bit more immersed, but from a spectator point of view, I thought it was giving us more than what we had in prior years. As far as waiting on info, the ranking updates, putting your game on the field, leaving everything out there, and then like holding your breath for 24 hours until everything gets updated. I think people were really happily kind of waiting on that from a spectator perspective, and I'm really a big fan of how spectators engage, and I do think that last year was a step in the right direction as far as fan engagement goes. And so I hope the teams like that. There's always a rumble and a mumble and a this and that when things aren't perfect. And generally speaking, when teams or players didn't make it or missed out, there's always a reason why. But but I think, yeah, overall, I think it was a big step in the right direction, and I'm sure that everything we've got in store for 2025 will be one more step forward.
Yeah, cool thing that we're going to see this year is that we have rankings from last year, which we're going to use to do the seeding of the spring tours and elite invite. And we actually have something that we can use, not just of the EUCF teams. Of course, before we could use EUCF finish, but after that, it was kind of throwing things in the dark. Now we have something that, what you earned was your seating in the spring tour this year. For the summer tours, we are going to use the 2025 rankings at that point for seating. So what is developed for the whole year. But now we're gonna get that going.
Yeah, but at least there's an initial seeding to start the season, something to go by to put things in line, put things in order, and set your pools, set your brackets, set everything up before the first shot.
Yeah, so I think that'll get us started. Oh yeah, one other interesting thing that we're adding this year, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, is the EUCF Division 2. For the next 8 teams out, basically, they get a chance to go 1 week early to Wrocław and have a top end of their season, which I think should be great. We'll see if we can get the buy-in for all the divisions, but looking forward to it.
All credit to Benji Reese for the nickname on that one. I know it's EUCF Division 2, but Benji came and called it E2CF, and I just love that, by the way. So I will be hashtagging E2CF from time to time.
I also like BUCF as a
yes, but B or 2. All right. I like them both.
We'll see what eventually, it ends up taking a mind of its own. People are going to start calling it whatever they call it.
E2CF.
E2CF. We'll see what the people decide. Put us in the chat. What do you like, BUCF or E2CF? See what you have to say. All right, let's start looking. We're going to start the show off looking division by division and just do a kind of rapid fire preview. We're not going to go into super detail about predictions. We're going to have like a separate spring tour prediction show where we're going to talk about that. But right now, just looking at the whole field and all the great tournaments we have out in front of us and just what your initial thoughts are and maybe pick a winner or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So here we go. The in or out 2025 season preview. We're going to start in the women's division. This year we have 29 teams in the EUC and the EUCS competing for spots, 12 nations, and we have 5 wonderful locations where all the tournaments are going to be taking place. We're going to start with the best of the best, as we will with all the divisions, with the elite invite. And let me see if I can get a different view there so we can see the whole thing on the screen. And yeah, so we have 3SB, BFD Shout, Ketchup Graz, Fabulous, Hrut, Iceni, Jinx Midnight, and Moon Cup. I think Troubles was the only top 8 team that couldn't make it. They're actually not playing the EUCS at all this year.
East Block couldn't have missed by much.
Yeah, I think 3SB was 9th, so they were the next one in. And then, so it's basically the top 8 that are still playing.
Right.
So got the buy-in.
Yeah, I love it. I think Fabulous really played Ostend perfectly last year. Let's see if they can bring it again. I think a lot of that will depend on how well Hot Mess Express do, because I know they did have a little bit of a roster merging that would have helped out at the tail end for them. I love seeing Ketchup. I love seeing the Austrian teams in 2 divisions in the Elite Invite. I think they had the breakout year. If we give breakout player of the year, if we gave it for team, I would maybe say Ketchup broke out from a middle of the pack team into a team that's playing in the Elite Invite. I think Grut is going to be even stronger than they finished last year, and boy did they finish strong. But I think Jinx are going to have a little bit of, I don't know, that disappointment, that monkey on the shoulder. I love their new coach. I love Inian Morthy going over to Jinx. I think that is an impeccable assignment. I look to rewatch that battle. We got it at Windmill last year in the final. We didn't get it at EUCF, and I think everybody's, had the wet palate to see that one. And I think it may well that would be my finals prediction here for Elite Invite. And yeah, just great looking lineup.
Jinx Crit the prediction, and yeah, I think if you had to put your money on it, I'm guessing you think Crit'll hold on to it, or what would you if you just had
Uh,
to give one winner?
Yeah, I mean, I can put my neck on the line. I actually have been on a prediction show this year and said I'm going to give it to Jinx this year for EUCF,
Yeah.
and that's putting it on the line. Of course, a little bit for the Bant, a little bit for like there is some belief there, but yeah, if I'm going to take Jinx, if I've gone that far for EUCF, I will take Grit to come out and take this one and defend their title at the first elite tournament.
All right. Let's move along. We got a lot of tournaments to get through. Sorry, that's the wrong way. We're going to go forward. And we go to our first spring tour in Grenoble. It was a great event last year. This year we got Shout, Fabulous, Krutz. All those are elite invite teams. Also Moon Cup from the elite invite there. So he's going to have a strong top of this tournament. Then rounding out the rest of it, the Heidi Synergy team, Hot Mess Express, Queen Kong, and Tequila Boom Boom from Rimini.
Yeah, I don't know what synergy is. Is that just they've added a new word to their name, Heidi Synergy? If that means they're going to be more synergetic and better, let's see it happen. Shout, I think, got a lot to prove this year. Uh, being perennial champions, like it's tough to say they get a lot to prove. They've been the champs for so long, and they finally like don't get a medal, but they still semied. But because they've been champions for so long, they've got that pedigree, they've got that swagger. They don't like not being medalists as much as Yaka doesn't like not being in the elite invite. So I think Shout, this is theirs to take. But hey, Moon Cup were in the finals. I think Moon Cup have put on a lot of additions. That's one roster I'd like to look at. But I mean, we had a count in the Discord chat there, Ravi, you were in, and there's 5 or 6 new players there. So yes, they won't have Ina Lancrete. Yes, it's true. Eva Bordeaux, one of the top players of the year, runner-up player of the year, will not be there. That is going to hurt. They're still going to be very good. I see those two at the top. No, so I don't. Groot is there. So I see those two fighting for a chance to play Groot. We mentioned Fabulous might be watered down because of Hot Mix Express. You see them both there. Queen Kong playing at home. They're going to need everything they can get. It's a strong field here. And Tequila Boom Boom coming up from Rimini. Lagala will probably be back with Moon Cup. And they're gonna have to get a lot out of that crew of very young up and coming players. So many on the under 24 team that silver medaled in Padova a year and a half ago, or nearly 2 years ago. They're up and coming, but again, with this crew, they're going to have their hands full.
Yeah, Shout did win this tournament last year, but it was Krutz, and Krut was also there. But Shout did take the early victory. I think Krut was still figuring themselves out. I remember Shout had quite a good zone. It was a bit windy in Grenoble. I was playing there myself, and yeah, I'm curious if they can take. This is going to be the first one, so we did do elite invite first, but this will be the first tournament before elite
That's a
invite.
very strong field for a not an elite invite for the spring tour. That is a very strong field going.
Yeah, you got half the elite invite teams there, and then the other 4 aren't slouches either. So I think it's going to be a great event over there in Grenoble. We'll move our way over to the other spring invite in the women's division. I believe there's only 2, so we've got here a bit more UK based, but still some international flair. We got Dublin Gravity, Flame from Dublin, the 2 Dublin teams, Gentle from Belgium, Horizon and Iceni from the UK, Kafum Orebro from Orebro, LMU, Smog, Spice, and Sick, a few more UK teams, and Yaka from now saying Paris. They have changed it from Noisy-le-Sec to Paris.
Oui.
Yes. Maybe at least that's what's on our file. So I'll trust my graphics people to say that they did that right.
Noisy-le-Sec. All right, they're gonna have to come up with a new song. I loved that one.
Yeah. What do you see here? We'll see if Yaka. I think the first thing I see. I mean, you did a lot of talking last time. I'll start a little bit of talking.
Yeah.
I think Yaka's got something to prove here. I think they need to come out and win this tournament strong. Some people forget that last year they were the best team of the EUCS. Then they did not have their full roster to UCF, and they paid the price for it. The women's division was just too strong to come out without all your guns and think you're going to just waltz into a medal like they've done time and time again. The women's division isn't like that anymore. I think they still, at full strength, are one of the top teams in Europe, and this is going to be a proving ground for them. Can they come out here and beat these UK teams, beat Dublin Gravity, or are they going to be more on that level? I think if I'm Yaka, I want to kind of win this tournament by a bit of a margin.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's there. This is, right time of the season for them to come and take back that which they felt to have lost at the end of EUCF. Dublin Gravity will be strong. Flame, they beat Yaka at the Siege of Limerick. It was a shell of a Yaka roster. Let's be honest here. They sent a very developmental roster, but they're getting wins. I'm very curious about Gentle because I made claims that not Torichas, but what's the Bruges women who were doing really well at the end of last year, and I forget their name.
Yeah, you mean at the World Beach? They had
they were Torichas at World Beach, but
they were Woof.
yeah, Woof.
Woof and Love are both not doing UCS this year, so I wonder if most of the Flemish women are going to condense into Gentle.
Well, I talked to Ina and said I wondered why Woof wasn't playing, and she said a lot of those players were from Ghent, and they are going to represent Gentle. It aligns with that the Ghent documentary that's just come out. Horizon, I've never seen. They are new on the horizon, I would say, as far as the EUCS spectrum goes. All the Brits here, Iceni, should be at the top of this. LMU always play well, like a team you can never count out. This will be the second year now for Smog. They were one of the teams that lost out in heartbreaking fashion. They won
the bid and turned it down for a wedding.
They turned it down.
Yeah.
So that is a very let's see what their dedication level is like. If they did get the door open last night and didn't take the invite. I think KFUM Örebro Frisbee will be interesting to see. I mean, Vendela Victorson is a absolute dynamo on the hard court. We saw her in Denmark last European Indoor Ultimate Championship, and she is amazing. I know that they are very much a youth group. It's a YMCA of Sweden by name. So I'll be very interested to see them. But I like Yaka to be at the top, and then Iceni and Gravity to be punching out for a shot in the finals there.
Yeah, so we have not as quite as strong a field as the Grenoble here in Leicester, but we do have Yaka, Iceni, Smog, which was an EUCF qualifying team, LMU EUCF qualifying team. And I think Gravity was just out last time, and Gentle maybe is taking in some Woof and Love players and probably going to be strong. So still some stuff to play for here. And then Sick and Spice, of course, also right on that edge. Probably the results of this tournament will matter a lot for the bubble teams as well. Like those other teams need to do well here because they're trying to fight each other for those top 16 spots. But let's move along. I think we're talking a little too long per tournament. We're going to speed things up a little bit. We'll go to the summer tours, and here maybe just talk a little bit about who you think might be the early favorites for the wild card, because of course summer tour, if you win your tournament, you get to go straight on. But here we've got the BFD Cheetahs, not Shout, second team out of the BFD club. Fabulous from Bern, Gentle, Heidi Synergy, Hot Mess Express, Sharks Barcelona, Sick, Tequila Boom Boom, and Yaka.
We said Yaka and Fabulous are looking good. So I'll stick with that. But Sharks just won in Valencia on the sand. Aina Perez, Julia Mas, Luna Andrade. They've got a great team. Can they put it together like the Spaniards have? We thought they had done at EUC a few years back. It's like, hey, the Spaniards are getting it done on grass now too. It's still not come to full fruition. I'd love to see the Sharks get ahead. Otherwise, yeah, if this is summer and these teams haven't qualified by then, I think this is by this stage of the season, Yaka will be fully cemented. And yeah, Fabulous, Gentle, they're going to be in the mix. But again, that's a very good division.
All right, we'll move on one more to the other summer tour for the women's division in Wrocław. Will be a sort of preview for them as the EUCF is also in Wrocław, so they'll have 2 trips out there. We've got 3SB, Box, Bristol, Ketchup, Dublin Gravity, East Block, Flame, Jinx Midnight, Kfum Örebro, Malmö, Seagulls, and Spice.
Yeah, this is a East Block. I'm going to have my eye on new coach with Lou Burgess, but the heartbeat of that team was Tlusta, and she has gone over with Groot, of course. So I hope they're still good. I believe they can be still good, but I really want to see how this unfolds. Catch up, as I said, look good. I think they're going to be the new Austrian powerhouse. Box seems to be losing players to mosquitoes, to moving out of town. Their coach is out of town. I feel like Box are moving in the wrong direction right now. They're gonna have to grab the reins there and take care of things. 3SB can pull things together in the big game. Certainly when push comes to shove and they got to qualify, they played the system really well last year. Jinx Midnight should dominate this tournament, though.
All right. We will. Yeah, I think I got nothing else to say there. I think I would guess it's going to be a Jinx 3SB final, but we'll see. We'll see how the rest things go. We'll go to the mixed division where there's 38 teams, 16 nations, and 7 locations.
38 teams. That's awesome.
Start things off here in the Elite Invite, where we've got Deep Space, Disconnection, Mosquitoes, Reading, Savage, Seskidistis, Tartu, and TFC Taucher. And I'll start things off here with a couple things. I think Deep Space, last year's champions, TFC Taucher, are definitely hungry to take this one out and show themselves early as the favorites. I think they were the number 1 ranked team from the EUCS season, but didn't manage to beat Deep Space in the final. Mosquitoes losing Spalholtz. Can they still do things at this level? Seski losing Gailansalon. So a couple of those teams losing some talismanic players. So I think that it'll probably be TFC Taucher and Deep Space fighting for it in the final. Tartu Turbulence, I think, returning everybody. I think there were some talks of some players moving on, but after last year's success, they said, no, let's put this together. And I think they have a plan of keeping this team together up through Worlds for this cycle. So I think they could be in the shout for challenging that, but I kind of see those 3 at the top, then a bit of a gap for the rest.
So the 3 are Deep Space, TFC Taucher, and Tartu.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah, I think I'm with you all aboard on that. I like Reading as well. I've done nothing but crap on Deep Space all throughout the off season, so I'll give them a little bit more crap and say that they're going to have to really, they let Lemmings beat them last year and take a lead invite. And sure, they came back. I have heard that Lemmings have almost disbanded through allocating themselves to the Deep Spaces and Readings and some of the open women's teams as well out there in the UK. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to crap on them. I'll poke fun of myself because I've even crapped on them a bit. They're awesome. They were great all throughout last year. They pull up big in the big games. They've got incredible depth and they play a great true mixed system. So I do love the way Deep Space plays, and I like your estimation on that. Reading would be my next sniff at a chance there, or semifinalists, let's say.
Yeah, Reading, I think, very unhappy with their draw, the random draw they got at last EUCF. So
hey, Hoagie.
Maybe they should just fight themselves into a top 4 spot. They don't got to worry about it. So let's it starts here, Reading, if you don't want to worry about that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to the tours. We'll start in the spring tour in Lund, Sweden. We've got BN1, DTU, Frumix, Glasgow, Heck, Helsinki, Jet Set, Newcastle, Brown, Reading, and RJP.
There's a lot of things that jump out here. Jet Set is playing mixed. That's exciting.
They're doing both open and mixed, I believe.
Open and mixed,
I think it's a separate group of players in Leuven that are. I think the open team is still pretty similar, and this is kind of a different group of players in Leuven that do the
I'd say they're going to be punching. They're going to have to be punching above their weight because their best players are likely going to be subscribed to the open. Frumix, I don't know very well. DTU, I've seen play just a little bit, and Newcastle, Brown, and RJP. These are teams that are pretty new on the radar for me. This is, this tournament, Reading Ultimate will absolutely wipe the floor with everybody here. I'm saying it. I'll say it again. Reading Ultimate will bring their mop and bucket, and all these teams will be fighting for second place. And really, that is for Glasgow to take. I think, heck, BN1. I think the Brits will stand up as the strongest at this tournament. But yes, this will be an eye opener for me. I'll be very curious watching to see how some of these teams shape up. You never know with Helsinki when you get teams coming from the north, where they can kind of put all their eggs in one basket, where all the best players in Helsinki will end up on that team. They might be able to pull something off there. Same with DTU.
All right. Yeah, I think that's enough for the Lund Spring Tour. Sorry, we will go now to Padova, where we've got Colorado, the Padova Rangers, Disco Bolo, Disconnection, the Lemmings, aforementioned,
Not
Mosquitoes coming
disbanded.
out here. Puck Remix, Seskadistis, Thundering Herd, TC Taucher, and Zoom Mix. So a bit of a stronger field, I think, than the last one. A lot
Indeed.
of teams here at the top. We've got Seski, we've got Lemmings, we've got Mosquitoes, Disconnection. Those are all elite invite teams. Padova Rangers, I think, were just out, so I think they will be there. Colorado also just out, I think. TC Taucher, I think, will be the class of this tour, but a lot of interesting things going on the lower levels. Puck also a really perennial good mixed team, so going to be an interesting one. I think Remix was also one of the teams that was just out of EUCF contention, close around there from Den Haag. I think they're going to want to do really well here. I know they have ambitions to make EUCF this year, so this
Yeah.
will be a proving ground for them. I see TFC Taucher coming out on top pretty easily, but a lot of intrigue throughout the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I like it. Disco Bolo, I talked to Jacopo Chielli, and I know that they have gone all in on mixed this season. It's not like they're just sending a mixed team to try and qualify, and still most of their players are going to play open or women's. They have gone all in on mixed, and they're a strong club down there, especially when they reduce to half an open club, half a women's club, and make it their top 20. They should not be looked past. That is for dang sure. But yeah, Tiefseetaucher, like you said, I think they're there. The Colorado German champs last year with Steph Doscher.
Yeah.
But still, let's not count them out either then.
Yeah, we haven't seen the roster. I think the German rosters hadn't been published yet. Maybe by the time we do the check, they will be published. We'll see if where Doscher is going to play this year, because I know he's not playing on the World Games team. So maybe we'll see where he ends up. Haven't seen that yet. All right, let's move along to another spring tour in Timisoara. This is in, I think this is a very small spring tour. But I think there'll just be a double round robin between these teams. It's good to get some teams out there that are as easily accessible for the rest of the EUCS tournament. There will also be an open division here with 8 teams, so a little bit more going on in Timisoara. But here we've got Heroes Flying Disc, Leftovers out, Transylvania Ultimate, and that's about it.
Great to see it. The Transylvania Ultimate, I did check out the roster on Instagram, and it's a lot of the players that were on the Romanian under-20 team that pushed Italy to the final there. A lot of those surnames that I had a whole bunch of trouble spitting out. Leftovers, they bronze medaled 3 years ago at UCF. So not to be taken lightly. And let's see how these Hungarian teams do. I'll leave it at that. Let's see how the Hungarians can do. They get a bit of a reputation, but as for all sorts of reasons, and I will leave it at that. But we'll be keeping a keen eye on the Hungarian mixed teams out there in Romania.
All right, now we're on to summer. So here we're going to have wild cards in the mix. Here we've got BN1, Colorado, Rangers, Deep Space, Disconnection, Frub, Jet Set, Lemmings, Nullacht, who we hadn't seen yet, Puck, Steamhuck, and TFC Taucher. Interesting one. I think TFC Taucher we got the TFC Taucher Deep Space competition here. I wonder if it's going to be a rematch of the Elite Invite final. Probably one of them's already going to have a wild card. The other one can take the wild card away. Again, for those who don't remember, if a team wins 2 wild cards, that wild card evaporates, and then it goes to just be a ranking bid. It's not that wild card goes to second place team. Wild card evaporates if a same team takes 2 of them. So that'll just be kind of extra bragging rights to win 2 wild cards for one of them. I'm sure they'd love to do that. I do see both of them on top. So sad for the rest of these teams if you're hoping to get a wild card way in. I think you better work on your ranking if you're going to want to get into this tournament.
Yeah, they got a rough draft. That's what they were banking on. Nulact was at last year's Elite Invite. Leamington is one that I'll be keen on seeing their roster when we open up the rosters. As I said, I've heard that they've been depleted. BN1, the Brighton crew, that they have been cuspy and they haven't quite found their way in. Will they be improved? I think a lot to be examined. And I like the Turkish Ultimate getting in there. Steamhuck, again, don't know much about them. Haven't had the opportunity to see them play, so would love to have a chance to be able to watch them.
Yeah, very very strong field here at this summer tour. This will be a nice like preview. I think a lot of these teams will be at EUCF, so this is a nice preview to see where teams stand just before the big event. Um, so then we go to Warsaw, where we have Four Hands, Oxley, Disco Bolo, DTU, Fireball, Helsinki, Flow. We haven't seen in. I don't think they were. Well, they didn't do that well last year. They didn't play last year. I can't remember, but Leftovers out RJP, Savage, and Sky This, who are two Polish teams that were at UCF last year. Tartu Turbulence and Zurich Zoo Mixed. Yeah, I see Tartu probably coming out on top of this one, but probably those Polish teams at their home tournament nipping at their heels.
That is a big Polish field. There's 6 Polish teams in the, not traveling too far. Anybody who has not qualified at this stage will definitely be sending as polished of a roster as they possibly can for the short travel to qualify. I agree with you. Tartu, this is their tournament. I'd probably say I don't even know. Like, I guess Sky This and Savage were the highest ranking Polish teams last year. Axley and Flo over the years have probably been stronger. So really any of those 4 could see their way into a final against Tartu, unless Leftovers can do something about it too. But I still think a lot of Leftovers prime days were with a couple players who are no longer with them, and they'll unless they've been able to replace Kametsovas and whatnot, they're gonna also have their hands full in this division.
All right, we'll move to Sterling with a bunch of UK teams in remix. So we got Glasgow GUXYZ, which I think is Glasgow's second team, I'm guessing. Heck,
Gooksies.
Heck, Newcastle Brown, Reading, Remix, and Thundering Herd.
Thundering Herd wear pants like cows. I know that much. There's a whole lot of Union Jacks going on out there. I think I'd love to see Remix throw a spanner in the works here, but I think it's Reading Glasgow who are favored, and maybe again it's Heck Glasgow who are fighting for that spot against Reading. Yeah, that's where I see the Union Jack Sterling division shaking out.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I'd like Remix to get in there, but probably they're not going to be the 4th team here. We'll see. We'll see how they've improved in the offseason. All right, well, that's it for the mixed division. Now we're going to go to the open division. We've got 60 teams. It's 17 nations.
60 teams, 44 teams will not qualify. That's awesome. They should make it E2CF.
I think Open is the division clamoring for an E2CF the most, and I really hope we get the other 2 as well. We'll see how much buy-in we get this year, but yeah, 60 teams, 17 locations, 17 nations in 10 locations. A lot of wild cards in the Open division, just like last year, so that'll mix things up for sure. And how those things draw out is definitely going to have an impact, I think. I think there's, with only 16 ranking spots and the way that things have shaken out this year, I would not be surprised if there are 1 or 2 teams outside the top 16 that qualify in through a wild card. So we'll get there, but let's start with the elite invite. Start with the top of the top from last year. La Fora, Chevy, Clapham, Gentle, Hrut, Mooncatchers, Chalk, Wall City. All the top 8 teams are there. I know you've been talking up Hrut as the up-and-comers, but the top 4 from last year, Clapham, Chalk, Moon, and La Fota, tough ones to get through if Hrut want to be semifinalists. I am curious how the UFA season is going to affect things, how many of the Mooncatchers are going to come back over for UCF. I believe Hrut has a couple players playing in the US as well. I believe that they will not be at Tom's, but are going to be at Elite Invite. Don't quote me on that, but that's kind of what I've heard, that the Americans are coming out for this one. I don't know, what's it going to mean for Moon, but I think that'll have huge implications. But yeah, what do you see? Just a bunch of really good teams here.
Yeah, I can't see Moon not having a chance of winning every tournament they're in, unless the players are like not showing up because of their other commitments, because there's a lot of them with other commitments. If they're in town, I think they've played together long enough, even with their externals. They've got great chemistry. They are absolute elite, top to bottom. They're going to be there again. Groot, as I said, I've said lots of things about Groot. The one thing I haven't is that Jason Valley on that roster.
Mhm.
Chicago Machine, then went to Revolver, defensive specialist. Like, he's one who's like tucked away in that roster. You kind of don't notice him, but he's an elite U.S. player. You know what? Probably last year, Gentle was in the final. I know that they've got an interesting addition with Alex Atkins of Pod Practice fame jumping on that ship. And their gain is Lafota's loss. Lafota may have had a chance at having him and didn't pull the trigger right away. Hey, we got to think about it. And he went there. And Lafota, to me, is a team like, yes, they've got Nas, they've got a great new coach, but they're a team with Rossi's not there, Barsazi's not there. I think they've got Pavan back. I'll be interested in seeing this roster, but they're a team that should be chomping to take these opportunities. So that's the team I see being ousted from the four here. Chuck is going to be awesome. So I'm going to say Moon and Chuck are going to be in the finals here. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Chuck is going to take the elite invite.
It's big words, but like, honestly, I don't think it's crazy. I saw Chalk last year. I thought they had some of the best, most disciplined offense that we saw at the elite divisions. They were a little bit just outmatched, experience wise, maybe compared to Moon and Clapham. But they took out Lafota in the bronze medal game. They showed that they are really in that conversation. And I think they're stepping up. We'll get to their roster later in the show. They've made some improvements. I'll tell you that much. I've taken a look
I've
already.
heard about a few.
There's
And that game
a couple
against
new cantons on the team. A couple new cantons on the team.
Wow. That is very interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
That quarter they had against Wall, they were just awesome. They were awesome in that game, I thought, too. So
incredible.
Look out for them, but that's going to be a great division. I think Chevy, Wall are going to somehow be at the bottom of this division.
They're going to want to prove you wrong, I'm sure about that, knowing those teams. All right, let's go into the spring tours here. We got the spring tour in Grenoble, 16 teams, Be Free, Blackbirds, Fab, Frisbees, Isno, Jet Set, Kapow, Lausanne, I don't know how to pronounce that, from Lausanne, Monkey, Moustics, Mr. Frizz, Quixotes, Revolutionaire, Smog, Solent, and UFO from Utrecht. Yeah, what do you see here?
Fab.
Aside from the fact that UFO is going to win the whole thing, of course, so we know that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was a one-time coach of Revolution there, but I will not be making any claims like that. I hope that they can swing in a division like this. They will have their hands full. Quixotes, the upset of the year at the EUCF last year against Clapham in some weather, but I think they're only getting stronger down there. Isno is where my heart is for sure. They've handed off some of the captaincy reins. I think the young and wily Luca Bouchon will be at the helm, which leads to some wonder, but I hope that he's matured. And I know Benji Fenriche will also be there, who is that calm and steady presence required.
Is Bouchon committed for the whole year this time, or is he?
Let's see. I believe so. I believe he was given the keys in exchange for the commitment.
Bouchon and Atkins together would have been quite something on Gentle if he had come back with them, because I think that's.
Yeah, we can only imagine. Jet Set is. I'll always wonder. Jet Set have been really good at add-ons in the last couple of years, but a bunch of the people that they have added on have seemed to added themselves elsewhere. Blackbirds, I don't know enough about. Moustiques, I don't know enough about. Mr. Frizz, they're in the same category as Revolutionaire. Solent, I don't know much about. And then Smog, Smog men didn't really impress me last year, so they're gonna have their hands full. I think this is Fab, Isno, UFO, perhaps Monkeys and Quixotes. There's a 5 there that I could see swinging for semis.
Oh, thanks for the shout out for the respect on the semis swing. Yeah, Quixotes. I think are if it's anything like last year, are a bit above the rest of this division. But yeah, I think it'll be a nice battle for the rest there. Quixotes are just so strong. I played them on sand last year, which I know was a bit stronger than their grass team even, but once they get moving, it's so hard to get the disc off them, and they, I think they're going to do it again. So we'll see. Go on to Padova in the spring tour. We've got Bad Skid, Moon, Lafota, One Tribe, Ketchup, Rat Track. Rat Track is the new rebranded Panthers. They've
Yeah.
gone to. They don't want to be confused with Panthers Wroclaw anymore. They've got their own. They
We've
got their
had
own
too
name.
many Panthers versus
Too many.
Panthers games. I've called 2 of them.
And now to Costa Rica, the Grandes and the Runners. So they're, I think, bringing a youth team. There's so many good young players in Rimini. I'm sure they have enough good players to have 2 ECS teams. Ronald Red Bulls. We got Free Speed and Solbang from Switzerland. Hardfish, Terrible Monkeys, Heidi's, and Heltra here in Padova.
Heltker's got to get a better name than Ultimate Frisbee Heltker. Can't have Ultimate or Frisbee in your name from here on out. Ranelagh is going to be good. I like Rat Track, which, do you know what Rat Track is? I think I learned this last year at Swiss
I think
Nationals.
it's like one of those snowmobile things in the ski
snow
lift.
grooming machine.
Snow grooming things, yeah.
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 I love the name. Bad Skid, you can never count out. I want to see that roster. I want to, is Dosher, is Nico Mueller, how many Boyton Muellers, how many Muellers, all those questions there. They're getting on a little bit over there in Massenbach, but they're good. They've been good for a long time. I would like to see them. Lafota Mooncatchers are going to be in the final. Ranelagh might have something to say about it. Free Speed were great on their home turf last year when they won Swiss Nationals, but they have not been as great taking their show on the road. I'd like to see that change. I think that's my assessment there. If I haven't mentioned them, I don't think that they're going to, have a chance at semis. One Tribe will probably not be happy with me. Costa Rica Grandes won't be happy with me, but they're just not quite there, in my opinion. I think that Red Bulls, Costa Rica Grandes, One Tribe, those 3 have a awesome rivalry battle that are all at pretty similar levels. Maybe the other 2 finally ahead of Red Bulls.
Well, a couple teams I think that are worth mentioning here, maybe not to win the tournament, but Heidi's were so close to qualifying last year. They're going to be dialed in and fired up for every single point of every single game, knowing how much it mattered last year. I'm curious how they're going to try to prove themselves out here.
I want to see that roster. I want to see if they're like just going to wait for the games to do it every single point in every single game, or if they're going to like tool up the roster so that every single point in every single game is that much easier.
I think that Graz was also a team that was on the bubble and doing okay. So I'm curious. I think like those type of battles, like they're not the top of the tournament, but like Heidi's versus Graz, maybe Heidi's trying to punch something at Costa Rica or Ranelagh, trying to get a good game against them. Maybe Red Bulls or you never know with Red Bulls if they have a really good team or if they're kind of down. It depends what's going on in Bologna, but Red Bulls One Tribe, I think those 2 teams have a little bit of a rivalry going. So that could be something fun to watch. A lot of fun things to pay attention to here in Padova early season.
For sure.
All right, let's go on to Timisoara. Here we got 3SB Fui, which are now combining forces, as well as Sim ET and Sim TT, which is the new Vienna. They haven't made their official names yet, but I forget which one's even the top one. It's a combination of Forward and Big Easy. Basically, the top players from both clubs are playing on one, and the bottom players are playing on the other, and that's 3SB and Fui doing the same thing. Top players playing on 3SB, next players playing on Fui of both organizations.
Okay, so they're doing it AB, not XY.
It's AB.
Because I said like if the Forward Big Easy changed and went XY, I mean, then they're just making it the small hard backwards AB. There. I think they should definitely be called the Wieners. But I think it's the right move in Vienna. I think the Forward and Big Easy got decimated because of the rise of mixed ultimate in Austria with Ketchup and Mosquitoes both getting stronger. I think that they lost a lot of their power, and I think it's the right move. Combine, put one team forward. I'm looking forward to seeing them take the field. I want to see what this looks like. I want to see I'd love a rebrand. They did it at the right time. That's one I'll have a keen eye on. I think 3SB Fui, we know what they're capable of. We've seen enough of them. They're elite invite material a year ago. They are just outside of that top 8. Smashed. Let's see what you got. They're gonna have their hands full. Outsitters. that's the Slovakian outfit. They impress when they get to play indoors and beach and smaller rosters. They don't quite have the depth, but I'm hoping that just keeps getting stronger. Zoom here.
They've got a Molnar. They've got a Molnar.
They've got a Molnar. That's very important stuff, having Molnars on teams. And then Zoom, they'll have their hands full here, as will Frisbee Club Barcelona.
Well, you talked about combinations. I was told this is also a new combination of all the top Barcelona clubs, Sharks, Krakens, all of them. They're saying, no, we're going to be, for Europeans, we're going to make one Barcelona team.
Hey.
And I'm curious what that's going to look like.
All right, let's see it.
This is the tournament of the teams, the cities combining with themselves. This is that's what this
the merger tournament. Timmy Soara. Everybody, bring two teams and turn them into one.
Yeah, I think 3SB is going to take it, but I'm really curious about Barcelona and this sim team, the Wieners, as you're calling them.
Yeah, the Wieners. Be the Wieners, guys.
Let's move on to StephO, where we still only have 5. I think there are still spots at this tournament if people want to come out. This is the later spring tour. It's going to be during the Elite Invite, actually. And here we got Fire of London, Örebro, Otso, Piru, and XVI. Here, I'm just going to go through it a bit quickly. I think XVI and Piru probably going to be at the top of XVI and Otso probably going to be at the top of this one. The Örebro has some young talent coming up as well.
They were great indoors.
XVI had a great season last year, making it into EUCF, just missing that Elite Invite spot, losing to Krut on Universe in pre-quarters. So I think they're going to be wanting to prove themselves that wasn't a fluke, that there's another Elite Dublin team in town, and we'll see if they can prove it here.
Yeah,
let's move on. Sorry, Steph. I know you love to talk, but we're deep into it. We're going to the next one.
Get there.
We're going to summer tour now. Heilbronn, and there is a spot here available. So if you're looking at this, if you're not in a summer tour yet, definitely try to get in this
your
one.
Spots here.
3SB, Bad Skid, Chevy, Frisbee Club Barcelona, Gentle, Krut, Heidi's, Monkey, the 2 Wieners, and Wall City.
Yeah, Wall City, Chevy, Krut, Gentle. So, easy to just pick out the Elite Invite clubs that are going to be at the top.
Who's taking the wild card, Steph?
The wild card here, I think Wall City's going to need it the most, is what I say. So I'm going to say Wall City is going to perform here like they did in the Elite Invite 3 years ago and get the job done. They're going to need it, and they're going to come up with the goods late season and take the wild card.
All right, we'll go to Denmark, Hornsild. They've got Aarhus, Blackbirds, Jet Set, KFK, Malmö, Otso, UFO, and XVI. So again, like I'm saying here, of course, XVI was a top 16 team last year, but it could be that this is a tournament of non-top 16 teams and one of them makes it in. I didn't do this for my team's benefit, but as UFO, I'm pretty happy that we have this chance to get this opportunity. But I think XVI will be a tough one. Otso will be a tough one. KFK is going to be pretty much on home turf in Denmark. So interesting one here in Hornsild.
Kentucky Fried Kick, and Ravi rigged it. UFO's getting the wild card. XVI, I've heard. I want to say I'm keen to see their roster. That's what I was actually doing when you told me to shut up last time. I was like, I think they lost some people. I was looking at the Ranelagh. I think Ranelagh's got a couple of them, but I think UFO got a very good chance here. Jet Set, KFK, XVI, but I'd say UFO's in with a shot here.
All right, we go on to Rimini, where we've got the 2 Costa Rica teams. We got Fab, Free Speed, Capau, Rattrack, Revolutionaire, and Quixotes from Madrid.
That is a well-balanced division, that one.
I think Quixotes and Costa Rica Grandes are going to be in the final, and that's the game to go. I think that is a notch.
You don't think the Swiss can show up here?
Is not. If you look at the rankings from last year, Swiss
I know. I just same. They shouldn't be so far behind. I just can't believe that they are, but they are. You're right. Last year they were way down in the rankings. It is a new year. It is a new year, but they're going to need some major life breathed into them for this new year, is what we're saying here. So yeah, you're right. Costa Rica, Quixotes. I will not contest.
And I would back Quixotes. Well, it depends what the roster looks like, but if it's similar to last year's, then could back them going here. All right, so we're going into Sterling, where we've got Alba, Bristol, Fire, Pelt, Ranelagh, and Smashed.
Ranelagh and who else? Uh, Bristol had a good Toms last year and then fell apart. Pelts were mixed last year. I didn't know that they were back to open. Fire of London. Is David Price still playing?
I don't
I
know.
don't think so. I'm kidding there. Alba, it will be Alba and Ranelagh in the final here, and Ranelagh will take this as they took their summer tour ticket last year.
Yeah. I think, yeah. The only other one, maybe Bristol, if they can play like they played at Tom's, then they could be in with a shout. But otherwise, yeah, Ronald Alba.
Yeah, don't peak so early.
Now to Wrocław, we've got Ketchup Panthers Wrocław, Dublin Frisbee Sevens, another Dublin team out here in the mix. Smog, Fui, Solent, Frisbees, Terrible Monkeys, Kfum Urbro, Uprising, Outseaters, and Zoom. One of these teams is going to UCF. Steph.
Yeah, I will say that this is the weakest division that we've looked at in the open division. That's, I don't think I'm sticking too far out on a limb there. I'd say Fui, depending on the split. No, because they're the B team. They're not.
Yeah.
I'd say it's Panthers Wrocław or Outseaters. Ketchup. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Ketchup Graz. They were close last year.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you talk me into that one, but I'm not that sold on Ketchup. They were good. I remember commentating at Vienna Spring Break last year, and they were very good, but couldn't get past one of the split 3SB Fui teams. So that was split XY last year.
Yeah.
They were playing with like 8 guys, and they couldn't get past that. So I don't know if I'm like totally dialed in on them.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, but I'm not that dialed in on them to be top 16, but to win this tournament,
one of these teams is going to be at EUCF.
Yeah, that's how the tours go.
Wow. Frisbees, I would love to see pulling it together. Shout out Toms. I think they'll have their hands full. But everybody here, I mean, put your last 3 games, do enough to make a bracket and win 2 games in a row, and that's all it takes. This is like, you can really play this tournament. This is a tournament that you got to play it right, and you could sneak yourself into the big dance.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams here will back themselves to get that wild card spot. So I think it'll be a good fight, and we'll see who comes out on top. That's it for all the tours. Just checking in. We got a question from Boston Graham. The EUCS website says play at least 10 games, minimum 1 EUF event during the 2024 season. Yes, that is the 2025 season. We will get that corrected as soon as we can. Thank you for pointing that out.
Graham, he's a weapon.
Want to show a couple things here on the. Just get this guy open here. This is not the one that's on the website now, but this is what I have on my own personal computer, just to show a little bit about what the ranking website's going to look like this year. There's a couple changes. One thing I've added here, and I think I have this as the second. I'll go to a slightly later ranking date here. This is still the 2024 data, but I've kind of piped it in the 2025 way. I've added a little delta on the ranking here, so you can easily sort by which team had the biggest move since the last ranking update, which team went down the furthest. In this case, the Owls went down 4 spots, and actually everybody went down, and TFC Tower just had 0 in this case, so it was a bit of a weird one. I've added that delta and also a delta in the rating, so you can see which teams had the biggest increase in rating.
Love it. Droppers and risers.
I've also changed things a bit in the bottom section. So this is a bit confusing. And if anybody has any feedback on how to make this more clear, I'm definitely open to it. So what you'll see here is I have in green, there are 16 bids to EUCF. Last year in blue, I called that potential bids. I've made that gray now. In blue, I've got the EUCF 2 bids, E2CF as
Ravi
call it. And then how many wildcards there have been. So what you see here is there are actually 3 at this point in the season, 3 wildcards that haven't been assigned yet. So I have that as potential bids. So that's why I have these 3 teams in gray, because if we don't really know if they are EUCF or EUCF2, if the wild card is above them or equal to them, they're an EUCF. If the wild card is below them, they might go down to EUCF2.
I think that's the same thing. Color coded properly.
Same thing as in theory here. I think it's unlikely that a team outside the top 24 wins a wild card, but if a top 24 team doesn't win a wild card, these teams could also be knocked out of EUCF2 and not make it. So like I have like this no man's land in gray on both sides. The ranking spots that are clear EUCF2, clear EUCF1 in green, and the wild cards in yellow.
Yeah,
That's what I've gone with. Steph, does this make sense? Is this like super crazy? I'm always confused as to, what it
that
always
reads
makes sense
well
to
to
my
me. I
brain,
mean,
but
I'm not the best with. I mean, I am like visual learning, visual displays. I love, and so the color coding I love. Make it nice and simple. If you're in this color, you're gonna do this. If you're in this color, you still got work to do. If you're in this color, you're up the creek. Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. The grays, I like the choice. Even you're in that gray area. There's the uncertainty. Green is in, and then if you're beneath the grays, there's still a chance to become a gray, or else you're
yeah.
safe in blue. Yeah, I like it. I like what you've done, but I'm happy that you're still seeking feedback
Yeah.
to always improve. But
Yeah,
to
this one
me,
took me a while to try and
that
figure out
looks
how to
right.
sort this one out, but, yeah, if anyone has any advice on how to do that, let me know. All right, last thing I wanna do is that I also did pipe into this a connection to the roster database, so we can actually look
Du-du-du-du.
at we're a bit late here, we're an hour in, but let's take some time to look at some rosters, look at some key rosters in, the tournament. I will quickly look at the YouTube questions. We got a question, "What happens if a wild card has not played their 10 matches? They do not get to go to EUCF." So that wild card evaporates, it goes away, we just go to ranking bids. It happened last year with Atletico. Atletico won a wild card bid, didn't get their 10 games in, were not invited to EUCF, and it just went to the next ranking team. So
Sorry, go home.
that is what happens. Got to get your 10 games in. We don't want to, give teams the right not to do that. So, yeah, I think we can go division by division here. Are there any teams you're especially curious with? There's definitely ones I'll show you a couple because I've already looked at this, but
No, I want you to show me things first, and then I'll tell you if I've still got remaining
all
curiosities.
right, I will first off go to the women's division and I will go to Jinx Midnight, where I think
Oh,
one thing we will notice, because you were pulling on them before, you see the master roster 2024 here on the left, 2025 here on the right, and there's a big name over here that I think doesn't exist over here.
Levka, not currently, so she could still show up on this roster
Yeah, but she is on another roster
in Europe.
in Europe. She is on another roster in Europe, and I bet I could give you 50 guesses and you wouldn't get it.
Uh,
I'll give you 3.
Seagulls.
Nope.
Is it a can I? Is it a team that was at the UCF last year?
Nope.
Oh wow. Uh, is it a team that she's played for before?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then, I mean, you're just shooting fish in a barrel here, but that's supposed to be easy, isn't it?
You're the fish in this case. Then.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I got to take a guess somewhere. I will say, I don't even know where to begin. You've really got me flustered here now.
You're not. There's no way you're going to get it.
The Belgian, a Belgian team, gentle.
Nope.
Okay, just tell me.
Yeah. The reason you're not going to get it is because it's in the open division. And it's actually I found her. I was looking like where could she be, and I had a way to query this, so I found her in Hamburg. She's playing not for Seagulls. You were right with Seagulls in terms of Hamburg, but she's playing on the open team with Hardfish. And I saw Leifke Waljak there on the Hardfish team. Now, she could transfer halfway through the season if she wants to go back to the women's division and play at UCF. I don't think Hardfish are qualifying for UCF. No offense to my Hamburg friends, but I don't know why she chose this. I don't know what's the
She
deal.
played open at Kaimana Classic not
Yeah.
long ago as well. That's
Might
a
just wanna
nice
play open.
challenge. That's where the headset's at. Anya, good on you, Levka. Let's see what you got. I'd love to see her on Jinx still, especially because I took Jinx to win it. But
It's hurting your cause right now.
yeah, okay, so that's a big one.
Yeah, so I think let's go back to women's division, look at a few of the teams there. And if anyone in the chat wants to look at a team, this isn't public on the public websites. This is a chance.
We have special power.
This is a special time to just look at stuff. I will try and put this up soon, but I'm
Uh,
working on a few different features right now, so I haven't been ready to
I'm
publish
kind
yet.
of curious about Yakas after you show me whatever you got next.
All right, let's start with Jinx. You did mention already Ava Borneau making the switch over. We knew that going in. Um, I think Inka Westman was not on the team last
Oh
year,
wow,
so that's another.
that's a big addition.
Yeah, that's
That's a
another
huge
addition.
addition.
Marta Ortiz was she was on the team last
Yeah,
year. So,
Maya Kozak on the team. Very, I see that up there. Yeah, not playing flow, not playing mixed.
yep.
The Polish.
Yeah, she probably has a connection through Paulina Lewandowska or something like that getting in there maybe.
Yeah, I know that she was asking last year when we were at CFC, even playing on the team with Nikki Priyan.
Mhm.
So there's could be a few ways in. Havlakova,
Teresa Havlakova, which team was she?
she was East Block, I'm
So that's
pretty
another
sure.
East Block piece missing from this year then.
Rosa Herkins was there last year. Liebert was there last year. Maya Aurora Johnson was on Bristol last year. She was on a UK team, I think Bristol.
All right.
Okay, okay. Well,
So a few
there's
pieces
some
moving
changes
over.
there. There's some changes.
Yeah, yeah. This is another name, Daniela Cetina, who seems to be a new name. Do you know her?
Satina, I did.
Sounds familiar, but I don't
Yes,
know.
that name
Yeah,
rings a bell.
yeah.
She played. I'm sure she was in the UCF last year. Where I cannot be sure right now.
Yeah, so we will go over to Yaka. You said that was the next one you want to take a look at.
Yeah, I want to see
Um,
if they're retooling here.
yeah, so they've got Mondio, Babikian, Leborn,
Laborn,
all the old players. I think I don't see Carolina Mabecondiason, which is
a
terrible.
shame. Yeah.
Yeah, she was on the roster last year. Um, so we see that.
Decatelli, Becker. It's a big roster.
Yeah.
Delaunay, Gaspar, Palant. I can't say that last name, but the Italian girl. She played Revolutionnaire a while ago. Barnes, Lila Petitbon is a big one, if you ask me. Is Perrine Lepreux? Is there a Lepreux on the
Yep,
team?
she's here. Perrine
Okay,
Leproux.
hey, they got the two Manchot top girls. I think those are two big additions. As much
Mhm.
as they're missing some as well. That looks good. No Ines Pringel on the roster anymore, though she didn't play much last year.
Yeah, I think Caroline Tisson also not on the roster,
Makes
although she also
sense.
also didn't play Mary. So then they don't
And
have Carolina Mabecondiason, don't have Caroline Tisson. The Caroline is
Meisel Gonzo.
yeah, Meisel, I did notice is on the
Mosquitoes. Yes, I saw that
Mosquitoes
as
roster,
well.
yeah. Back over to Vienna.
Okay, so a few changes. I wouldn't put my neck out on the line and say they've got stronger. They haven't got too much weaker if they have, but
Some up, some down, I think.
yeah,
Let's look at some of the other, I'm trying to remember what else was interesting. Let's see if has Gentle put up their roster yet? Not there.
get it up,
Uh,
Ina.
Krutz, I did notice Tizik. I don't think she was on the announcement yet, so she has been in Amsterdam for a while.
Awesome. Love to
Do
see
see
it.
her there. And yeah, I think we've seen all the rest of their roster was announced before, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
put too much time to that. Is East Block put up their rosters yet? I hadn't seen it. No, just 2024 is there.
What about Shout? Let's have a look at Shout.
Yeah, Shout had a couple interesting things here. So Evan Muller's back. Shawl didn't. When
Shal is back. Love
Yeah,
it.
will she
Pivetta
actually
is
do it
there.
this time? That's the question. But yeah,
Pivetta played with Cusp Padova Rangers last year and was awesome. A
hmm
young up and comer. She's great to see that move over there. Baroni, Guardoni, Bertrand,
Bertrand wasn't
Juliette
on the team
Bertrand.
last year.
That's a French. She plays French.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Capello,
Maël Barentin,
Giovannini. Maël Barentin from
yeah,
Seski.
from
Seski's in
Seski. Ooh,
trouble.
Seski's down bad.
Yeah. Kometsova's back. That's good news. Okay, they're playing for keeps here. Tramonte. Sinead
Sinead
Dunn
Dunn
is
again.
back. Albani. Sofia Scazzi.
No, Irena Scazzi.
Vaselina. No, we know that. And Teresa
Mrazova.
Mrazova. That's a nut.
Is that another East Blocker?
Or is that 3SB? It's a check. Okay. Well, I think Shout have strengthened.
Secure. Teresa Mrazova was a 3SBer last
Yeah.
year. All right. Anything else in the women's division? Anybody in the chat, feel free to ask if you want to look at a roster. We've got just scrolling around here. If anything catches your eye, just tell me to click on it. No, okay. Let's go to mixed. See what's going on there. So I think this is an interesting one that I saw. So he's it looks like you were asking if Pavan is on La Fota. No, it looks like he's back on
Tifse.
Padova Rangers.
Oh, Padova.
Yeah, which is where he started the season He started the season on them last
So
year.
there's still potential for him to change.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rangers look like they're getting Pavan back, which I think they were pretty good last year without him. So I think adding him is definitely no slouch.
Martini, Francesco Martini, Fumagalli, Fuma di Padova. There's another Fumagalli. That is a big roster. That's a big roster.
Let's see if Deep Space have put themselves down here yet. Oh, they have.
Okay, here, let's see the champs.
Intermendi.
Alana Acha right at the top. Intermendi. Ben Andrews was Lemmings last year.
Okay.
Bex Palmer. Wilson Sloan.
Where was Bex Palmer? Where was she last year? Was she on Reading last year?
Was she in Australia last year?
Oh, yeah, maybe that was it.
Hannah Yorworth. Jack Halkyard. He's getting big talks, Halkyard. Max Squires. Anytime I say something about him, I get a message in my Instagram account. Phil Sandwell, Rachel Nade. Yeah, they're gonna be good again. They're gonna be good. Bruce Codrin.
Got Deniston back again. They got all the big hitters, I think.
Yeah.
Most of them anyways.
Yeah, they're going to be a fish. Hopefully, I know he bounced back from the shoulder. Hopefully he's even in stronger fighting form. They're the team to beat, I think.
Let's see if TFC's got their roster out yet. No TFC yet.
Cowards.
Tartu? No, nothing there yet. Seski. I want to see what Seski's looking like. Seski is there.
Is there anybody on it?
Anga Levalier is a pretty good player that being added to the team. Gwen Tessier still there.
Love Tessier.
John O'Mondays there. Brew, of course.
O'Mondays. Yeah.
Got Pierre-Alexandre Monet. I think they're probably still EUCF level. They could make it in, but they've lost a couple pieces that are pretty big.
I mean, losing their captain and then Gael and Mael, the ILs are gone.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough stuff.
It's potentially their top MMP and top mump and top thump.
Yeah. I think Brew might have something to say about that.
Yes. I'm not potentially.
Anybody else in mixed you're curious about?
I'll take a look at Reading.
All right, let's do Reading.
I love Andy Lewis.
Akito Oyama.
That's
an interesting name.
Becky Thompson. I know that Helen Thompson's got an interesting new home.
Yeah, she's on Moon Cup this year, I think.
Yeah, we didn't look there, but that was an interesting move. Harden, Lou, Brown, Kwok, Peevers, Nedick, Mark Bignall. He's not called Small Null. Espinosa. The team looks similar. I can't see any. Is Hoagie on there?
Yep.
There he is. All right.
Scrolled past him too quick.
They'll be all right then. They'll be all right.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Is Puck?
Yeah, I'm interested in Puck too.
What do they got going on?
Dark Herlands. Is that Chemino? Right. I don't recognize a lot of these names. I'll say that right now. Castro, Vignes,
Arion Tonnerre, I know that name.
Dubon, Marquez, Pauline Lambolez, Tazio Toreri. Okay, I know a few, but Francis Dieterle, Gonzo.
Yeah, maybe he's on. Maybe is he back in Spain these days? I actually don't know where he's at.
Okay,
Um,
interesting. All right.
all right. Let me see if there are any more disconnection. Do we have anything? They got their roster. Just a quick look. We got Turk back.
Hambricht.
Weigel's back.
Eggs, love the. I gotta trade for an eggs jersey.
Haas. We got
Jonathan Eggs. I'm
Neuwirth.
in for I'm in for a trade.
All right. I think we're going a little late here, so let's take a look
Yeah.
at the open division, see what's going on here. 3SB, no roster yet. Bad Skid, you were curious about their roster,
Yeah.
also
Not
not
in.
up there yet.
Let's look at La Fotta. I want to see what they've done.
Yeah, they've got something up. I don't know if this is the full
La
one.
Fitrombetti Copy. Who's that? Francesco Roland?
Romano.
Oh, Romano. Sorry. My eyes. Alisi, Rosi, Santucci, Saraco, Cantu.
Isn't he a good Spanish player, Francesco Romano? Isn't
Ah,
he?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Romano
yeah.
isn't he
I
Quixotes?
thought he was Quixotes. Maybe Quixotes are down
Huh.
this year.
Uh, Jan Novak still there. Josh Poltok. That's an add-on. Poltok was one tribe.
Yeah, that's true.
Mafioli, Cristofuli's back from Moon.
Caius Mate didn't make the trip back to Chalk with everybody else, so he's
Okay.
sticking with La Fota.
Tognetti, Simonazzi, Mancinelli, Corazza, Venturoli, Zani, Gasperini, Osri still there. Another Zani, the young Zani, and
Comirato.
Comirato.
So
Okay, so not
most of the gangs there, of course, missing some bigger pieces. Barzazzi, Rossi gone, but and Gasparini is going to be spending a lot of time in
in
North America. We'll
Toronto.
see how that
Yeah.
affects their regular season ranking,
The
but
Toronto Rush.
yeah. um,
Show me that Czech roster. Let me see. Let's have
yeah,
a look at
this
Czech.
one is whew.
Is it Bono? Is he back? Is that the other?
No, it's Monuz.
Oh,
So another
Manuz. He's left
yeah,
Quixotes.
another
Right.
Quixote is leaving Madrid, so maybe they're not as strong as we would have thought.
Liron, Roger, Chevalier, Broussard.
Yeah, we got Elie
Oh,
Pone. He was on the roster last year, but never played with them.
yeah.
We've got
Forget,
Enzo
Stanguenic,
Stanganek is a new addition this year, who was very good with the youth team.
Chistier was there last year. Newen was there. Cheré.
Ferré is new,
Yeah.
also another good piece.
Voirnisson. Is he new or did he play last year?
Voirnisson is looks new. I
Yeah,
didn't see him
because
on the
he was on France Mix. He's a great player. I love Voirnisson.
yeah.
Chantiron, Nathan Russe, Courty is awesome. Courty was there last year.
Yeah, he was there
Yeah,
last year. Yeah, he was a big piece of them last year.
Perret.
Ben
Who's
Vignen.
that? No, Benvenien. Yeah,
Yeah. And we
Monuz
got
is back.
Monuz and
Roger
Roger.
is back. I
Yeah,
love
the two
Roger going
Pontons.
back. I think, and then you got Simon Ruel, one of my favorites.
Roblet.
Roblet, Levier, Tony Dimne was there last year. Abita,
Yeah, the rest is the
Lepagnol,
same as last year,
Lejeune.
but
They're gonna
this
be
team
good
is
again.
stacked. This
They're
team's
better
stacked.
than last year, and
They're
last year
going
they
for
were
a
awesome.
title. I think they're in the mix. I mean, Moon have maybe stacked themselves too much is the problem, but I could see Chalk in the final against Moon this year.
I would have loved to see SPS on that roster. I don't know what he's doing for club. I'm sure he's like all in on World Games only, but I would have loved to see him on that roster.
Oh, maybe he'll get added late. Maybe he'll get added at the last minute.
Yeah.
Any other rosters you're curious about?
I mean, there's lots I'm curious about. I mean, I often want to see the top teams. You know, like I know I want to see Gentle's roster. Did they put one
I
in?
think they're not. I think Belgium's a little slow on the
Yeah,
submissions.
they are slow on the uptake.
Clapham is one thing I noticed, but I think they're still doing tryouts, so they probably put in the base 14 and there's still space to do it.
Okay.
But you would think one of the first people you would put on a base 14
Justin Ford,
is
Connor
Justin
McHale.
Ford. He's not there.
Huh.
I don't know.
Justin Ford cut. Can you believe it?
No, I don't think he's cut yet, but you know,
we're not selling that news, Ravi. We're not selling that news. I don't think anybody's buying it. We
no
are.
one's buying that.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see how that one shapes out. Sean Colfer and gosh, I've forgotten the Canadian coach's name again. but their new Canadian coach, Chris Artebello, and
Okay.
Sean Colfer at the helm this year. So let's see how long it's going to take till they get that all updated. What else we got? Give us another quick scroll through some of these teams.
Yeah, so Hillman's not on the roster yet, but yeah, again, Clapham, they're not finalized yet. I think those are a lot of the highlights of what I ended up looking at here.
Groot, we know.
We talked about. I think they
I'll
have
look at
one
his no
more.
good because
They have one more addition that I don't think was announced before, which is Daniel Ritholler, which I think he's played UFA, and I think he played for Oregon Ego. I think he's a friend of Jason Valley's that's coming over to help bolster the ranks. So they got a couple guns for hire from the States coming over.
I like it.
Ben Ort's back.
Is TB on the roster?
They don't even have him on the roster. I'm guessing they're going to add him later. I've been told from TB that he is going to be there for EUCF, and he says they are going to win. Is the word from him. He's competitive. He wants to do it.
I love it.
So yeah,
get your name on the damn roster then if you're going to.
All right.
Give me his no. I got to see his.
Do his no. There we are.
Davy, Arthur, Fenrich, Martin, I don't know. Redu, I don't know. Giffard, of course. Fefe, Zubair, still doing it. Love it. Francois, JB, Lavar. Okay, so there's a bunch of new names.
Yeah. Bouchon, we said, back on the.
There. Maël Maurice, Matthias Abraham, Nico Perus. Yes, Perus. All right. A lot of new names there. They'll have they're gonna have their work cut out for them. I hope a lot of the names I don't. Oh, Raf Melin, he's a youngster. I'm happy to see him on that list. Hope that these youngsters can put in some work. Then, all right.
Yeah. So I think they're. I mean, we'll see what Bouchon does with the reins, but looking a bit similar. I don't see any like big pieces compared to last
year.
They
definitely haven't recruited.
Yeah. Let's see. Heidi's on there. You were asking about Heidi's. I don't think they're up yet.
You know, I want to know where he is Jonathan Myers Bottling.
Yeah. It's always a question. Where is Meyer Bottling? Not on World Games.
Yeah,
so
which is what's he? Like I don't even think he nominated.
No, he didn't try out.
He would have been
He didn't even try out.
Sure thing. I would take that guy in a second.
Yeah. Quixotes, have they put their stuff up? Yeah. Okay. Let's have a quick look at Quixotes. So,
Calarota. He's been there a couple of years now.
He was there last year.
Ponce, they're missing some names. Lopez, Babio, Bell, Pacheco.
Yeah. Obviously, Monuz is gone. We mentioned that already.
And Romano.
But was Romano on the team last year? Francesco Romano. I think he was a key player for them last year.
That's a big move. That was Lafota, we said, right? That's a big move for Lafota.
Yeah. Yeah, so poof.
All right.
We will see. We will see.
Things are taking shape now.
Okay, so Batso, that's a good preview. I think we've given the people a little taste of what we're going to see. Very excited for this club season, how things are going to shape up. Any final thoughts for yourself?
Not too much. Looking forward to the season. Hoping we're going to be on site and watching it all unfold. And yeah, stoked. Thanks for having me on, Ravi. Been a blast.
Yeah, thanks, Steph. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be here for a spring tour preview. I believe that's the next show in a couple of weeks. See you soon.